Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host, JB, your sports guy. We got a big show for you all tonight. We got Coach Wayne Stein, the head coach of the St. Charles Comets baseball and football team, joining us later on tonight. And we got another special guest. We're going to introduce him in a second. But first, my co-host, first from Crescent City Sports, the one, the only VK Jones. What's up, VK?
Good evening, everybody. Like, share, tag, subscribe to the Hash It Out Show on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. We got a good one tonight. It's a baseball edition of the show. We appreciate you joining us. And hey, we got a really good one. And we got state championship guests, and we got another expert with us as well. So go ahead, Jared. Let's get it rolling.
Other co-host joining us also with Crescent City Sports, the one, the only George Peppers. What's up, George?
I'm doing just fine, Jared. No complaints. Can't be doing as good as you. Today has been a marvelous, marvelous day in many aspects. One personal, one professional, and I'm glad to hear it on one count for personal, but not the professional. I don't know. It remains to be seen. We'll discuss that later, though.
Most definitely. Joining us now, you can catch this guy on Sinla Preps and on SB Live, the one, the only Lamar Gaffer. Lamar, thank you for joining us on the show again. How have you been?
Man, I've been good. Thank y'all so much for having me. And, I'm just glad to be here once again just to talk sports with you guys as well.
Definitely, man. We are glad to have you. You were in Sulphur, Louisiana this past weekend. I want to start with Sulphur versus West Monroe. A whole lot going into this. Sulphur comes back in the top of the seventh to win 10-4.
Barb,
Wait.
Barb,
Barb.
Barb.
Barb beat West Monroe.
Barb.
Who did I say? Sulphur. Okay.
You
Sulfur.
said
Barb's in
sulfur.
Lake Charles. Okay. Barb
They
versus West
lost to
Monroe.
sulfur in the semis.
Thank you. Barb defeated Sulphur in the semis. Barb came back in the top of the seventh to defeat West Monroe 10-4. A whole lot going into that ball game. You were there from start to finish. What are your thoughts about that game?
I think it was just an incredible game that everybody got a chance to pretty much see. Like, it was one of those games that highly anticipated matchup. Obviously, West Monroe coming in here as the defending 5A champions, but also Barb being the top of the mountain at that time, winning 11 11 championships. And, for a good minute, it looked like West Monroe was going to be on the way of winning their second championship in a row there, up 4-1 until possibly the worst part of the time right there, where nobody probably saw that happening, where they were going to give up 9 runs in the 7th inning to lose the ball game. And by the way, credit to Donovan LaSalle. Very great player. Of course, Coach Cicchini has said that he feels like that he could be a first round draft pick, but at least right now he's an Oklahoma State signee for pretty much hitting the biggest home run of his life, hitting the grand slam to put them on top in that one. And, credit to Barb. I mean, again, that's the reason why they are not just only a state power, but a national power at that. And I know it was just a tough day at the office for West Monroe, but high drama. That's basically what you had in that game.
Go ahead, VK.
Yeah, it was unbelievable to see what happened. I got to look at more of the highlights afterwards, but I looked at the story. I could not believe I fell asleep right in the 7th inning with one out, the pitcher change, and all of a sudden I miss it. I get up going to church. I check the score and I see Judge with one. I'm like, okay, West Monroe went out, and I'm flipping my lid when I seen the score. And it's unbelievable when you look at the whole game, and there was a lot of activity.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a whole movie in itself because of the fact that you hear Coach Wade Seminole, legendary coach in the state, has coached in college baseball at Louisiana Tech, and has really got that West Monroe program going. Look for second straight title. He goes on the Aaron Dietrich show and says that, hey, we know how Barb is sometimes maybe the most hated program or sometimes the most talked about program. But he also said, this is what we wanted. This is the team that we want. That sounds like a confident coach that wanted to prove, because he felt like more than anything else that last year was a fluke with his championship because Bob didn't make it. But so it just felt like that, hey, let's prove ourselves. And you have to think it was a lot of activity before and after. But regardless of the activity, you know, West Monroe had the chance to knock off the Kings, and the Kings took their crown back in the seventh inning, in an unbelievable seventh inning to win it, a 12 state title for Coach Akini and his squad. I mean, and it's big time credit to them. I mean, it was a fight to the finish, but I think Bob just put out the ultimate knockout punch against the defending champs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was basically just that way, like how you just described it, VK. Just this was a team that just would not go away, and especially even though they did take the lead at first with the 1-0 lead, and then you see West Monroe in the fourth and fifth inning score those 4 runs. They just did not go away. Even when West Monroe had their shortstop had 3 double plays in the matchup, they just wouldn't go away at that point. And again, it just continues to show why they are a very good team. And I've seen this West Monroe team at least once this season when they played against Ash in a regular season game there. And I felt like that they were always going to be a tough matchup because not just only that, but they have a lot of left-handers, left-handed bats. And of course, they had a lot of talent. Hayden Federico, Trey Halsey, the list goes on and on and on. And so, again, one of the most anticipated games there. And they got a finish. They got a great finish to basically see for the rest of to kind of that'll probably live on for the rest of life, I guess.
George.
One more. First of all, thank you for joining us. It's good to talk to you again. Staying on the theme of great games, West Monroe Bar, great inning, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But making the argument for the great game of what was the best game of the week for me, VK and I had this discussion last night. I think Jesuit Rummel, Catholic League rivals. If you're a pitching man, if you like pitchers duels, this was your game. 1-0. Jays win the title. To you, and you were there in Sulphur, Umbrella, and so I'm sure with Mother Nature the way it wreaked havoc last week. Was Jesuit Rumble the best game to you? Can you come up with one that you felt in your mind was better than that game?
I like.
I
I'll go ahead.
go ahead, Lamar. Go ahead, Lamar. You the
I was
guest.
just about to say, yeah, I like pitchers duels too, and I felt like that had to be one of the better games as well. I didn't get a chance to really look over that one a lot, but just seeing the stats from that game, and of
Mhm.
course the whole rivalry perspective, the whole region perspective as well. New Orleans versus New Orleans, I felt like that had to be up there on that mix, in that mantle. I would also like to throw in there though. Oak Grove against the Quincy. I felt like that was a pretty solid game too, just basically because of the sheer comeback for the Quincy to come back to win that, to come back to at least to take the lead, but Oak Grove basically tying it up and making it a 12 inning affair in that one. So I think we had a lot of good action pretty much over the weekend as well.
And then another game I really thought that was really good was Berwick and Doyle. And I'll tell you, Doyle had to come back being down a run and tied it in the seventh, and they forced extra innings, and then a 2-run homer. And I believe it was Crew Bella for Berwick knocked it out the park as Berwick went up 4-2, and it wound up being the final score on that one. And that was just a barn burner in itself, and it was heartbreaking for Doyle because that's 4 straight finals they have been in and has not cracked the championship. So that was really big in itself. But for Southeast Louisiana, what a great showing! You had to think Lakeshore, who was an 8 seed, got to the championship game. Berwick winning it all. Jesuit and Rummel going at it for the title with Jesuit winning, but then Rummel pulling off the upset of the week against Catholic of Baton Rouge. So and it just showed how much of a great showing Southeast Louisiana made. 5 title appearance, 5 teams go to a title game for winning a title. That's really big. That's probably a first, one of the few times ever that Southeast Louisiana has really made an impact in the 2022 baseball championships. And we can't forget about Voiles, Voiles at all either. Voiles Public Charter had a great showing, and for them to win the whole thing, and me and Lamar talked about that, he covered them. Like for them, they now have showed that they are the best team in the Vols besides Holy Savior Menard, who came up short against St. Charles Cadley, but I would not be surprised. Holy Savior Menard is going to be back, and I wouldn't be surprised they might be favored to win the title next year because all they had was one senior on the squad this year against St. Charles. St. Charles just had too much experience, too much power, too much pitching. But I think for Holy Savior Menard, especially with them pulling off the big win against Notre Dame McCrowley, that really, really boosted them up, especially with them moving up in classification. So I wouldn't be surprised they'll be there next year. But big ups going to Vols Public Charter. I mean, it was a very good ball game against Family Christian, but they pulled away and got the job done.
Looks like we lost Lamar for a second. Hopefully we can get him back. George, you know about a Voyage Charter.
I
What are your
do.
thoughts?
I think they're the best school in the parish now. Living there 12 years and knowing the parish like I do, it is a small, compact parish. And of all public charter, and I told VK this last night before you joined us, we talked, on the group chat that we had. Um, I told him, I said, look, APC is a very compact school. There's not many kids in that school. It is a charter school. It is the only charter school in the parish. And I see we got Lamar back. So, Lamar, what VK was asking you is basically in summation a lot of other games, but also paying homage to Avoyles Public Charter, the Vikings winning their second state championship in the prep calendar year. APC, look, I lived there for 12 years, and I know a lot about the Vikings. This is a program that has really come of age and has, in my opinion, Lamar, has passed the other three schools in Avoyles Parish and challenging for, I mean, I say challenging, but, kind of getting into the upper crust of Senlaw. What are your thoughts on the Vikings' rise this year and the breakthroughs that they've had?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely seen this happen especially with the girls basketball program being so close, even getting down to Hammond at one point in time. And unfortunately, when they had Peyton Hines, when they lost the quarterfinal matchup, but it seems like all of their programs have started to come along at the right at this point in time. Even the softball program, not just actually years ago, also making it Sulphur, but now finally getting the championship. Definitely, what can you say? Pretty much, with basketball, he's been their long time head for over a year. Come all the way back. He's back up and great players, including his son, Benjamin and Jalen Brown, and then of course the for a long time, who's had some very solid on, who's going to go to LSUE, basically now high school career with a championship there. So I think if not premier team in the parish at this, been also at least etched themselves around one of the premier teams at least. And
Lamar. We lost Lamar again. We get him back.
So some must be up with.
He's having some technical difficulties on his end. End. Oh man.
Yes, sir.
So Avoyles Charter back at it next year. Semifinals and finals.
Probably so. Once again, they're a very good program. Not too many seniors on the squad. They got some key ones, but I think they're going to be right there again. And they played a tough schedule as well. That really, really helped them a lot. So I think it's going to help them a lot again. Lamar.
Lamar, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right.
St. Charles Catholic, back-to-back state champions. Coach Wayne Stein resigned immediately after baseball coach. What are your thoughts about the job Coach Wayne Stein has done at St. Charles Catholic, especially winning back-to-back state titles in baseball?
Yeah, I think it's a impressive feat. I mean, not just only, I mean, of course, winning back to back titles in one sport is always a tough thing, but to do it in two sports is even tougher. And to get those kids to buy in, to do it in both sports, because from what I understand, most of those guys not just only play baseball, but they play football too. But to keep them bought in, and also to put in the time and the effort and the energy of all of that. I just gotta tip my cap off to him. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible, basically.
George?
George.
Go ahead,
I
VK.
muted. I muted
Oh, there he
myself.
is.
I'm sorry.
Go
I
ahead,
muted.
man.
My bad. I forgot to unmute. I'm sitting there just ready to rock and roll and forgot to unmute. My bad. All right, Lamar. We mentioned St. Charles. Obviously, two straight state titles. Wayne Stein doing what he did. Um, who was the best team in Sulphur in Lake Charles this week? In Sulphur, I mean this week. Who was the best team that you saw with your own eyes, champion or not?
Without a doubt, Barb. I think the record shows it. 39-1.
Right.
The way that they came back, the talent that they have on this
Hmm.
same squad, the coaching. I mean, I just think that there's wasn't a better team rather than them. I would also say West Monroe right under them based off of the talent that they have, and of course, me kind of cheating a little bit here that I got a chance to see them earlier. But I think those two teams, and of course, you can't forget about Jesuit as well, with the way that they've played down there, and also going down there, coming back against Pineville in the semifinal game, but just doing what they did as well. I think those three teams definitely have to be up there on the list.
Well, I think no doubt Barb was definitely the best team overall. I think they were the best team overall. It was just unbelievable how they came back and they got the job done and won the state championship and everything. Second would be St. Charles Catholic because of the fact of all the experience and the way they have played in the clutch and everything else, especially the tough schedule they played that prepared them for this time and everything else. And then the performance they had in the state championship game just said it all.
Hmm.
So second, it would first be Bob, second would be St. Charles Catholic, third would be West Monroe because they were a really, really good team. They just had to fix some things, but they, bounced back from mistakes. And it showed against Sam Houston in the semifinals where it was down 3-1 and he scored three in the seventh to win it, to get to the state championship game. And they've been walking off a lot these last couple years. I think it was over, I believe, about 10, 11, 12 walk-off victories for West Monroe. So they know how to get it done late in games. So they were really good. And then we can't forget about the Jesuit Blue Jays. Jesuit had to come back from being down 4 to nothing against Pineville to get the victory 6-4. So it was big for Coach Arnett and his squad. And it was a great classic game against Rummel, and Rummel had opportunities, but Jesuit William Good just shut it down, and Jesuit brings home another state championship. But like I said, it was a great week. It was a great experience in itself overall. So many great stories from out in Sulphur this week, and it was crazy to see what happens even afterwards. The other big story was even with Lakeshore getting in the state championship for the first time ever in baseball, but especially under Boomer Nunez in his first year as head coach. He was been assistant in the past, but he gets fired from Lakeshore. And if you read the NOLA.com article, it seemed like him and the principal was not on the same page at all. Seemed like there's a lot of beef between one another, and it came to a head. So it is almost like somebody had to go. but I really felt bad for Boomer Nunez because I think he really done a great job. They pulled off a shocking upset against the 1 seed and took out the 4 seed to get to the championship in his first year as head coach. So it's just unbelievable that politics gets in the way of success.
Lamar, I want to know what is your thoughts about that game, Lakeshore versus Iowa, because Lakeshore's been up and coming, and we really never heard about Iowa being a major program in sports until this year with the runs in basketball and football, and here they are in baseball becoming state champions.
Yeah, I know Iowa has been knocking on the door for the last couple of years as far as their base program, but unfortunately never really get quite kicked down at this point until year. So they play in that tough 3-3-8 district with Dill.
Oh, not again.
We lost Lamar again.
Boy. Oh boy.
Yikes.
He is having technical difficulties on his end. Just when we thought everything was clear, he is having a lot of technical difficulties.
He'll be back in 1 second because like that's a case of, and that's we go through that. And I think Jared, you're going through. That's why you're in a different location because sometimes the internet might just not be all that great.
Yeah,
might have a mind of its own. I think
it might.
I mean, just we've all been there. So,
yeah, we hear you. Yes, sir. Go ahead, buddy.
Continue.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. My bad about that.
Good.
But yeah,
good.
They've always been obviously they play in one of the tougher districts in 3A with them, South Bow, St. Louis. They get battle tested every single time. And just for them to finally crack the door down in front of pretty much their home fans in what might have been really a home playoff game for them, that definitely says a lot. They've always been I got once, and they had a great running back there in the quarterfinals. But their programs have been really up and coming, pretty nice, and even their softball program did finals this year. Had a pretty good hitter, and I think her name is Boudreaux. So they've been pretty solid as well.
And is Iowa,
and we lost them again.
We lost them again. This is I don't know what's going on in Alexandria. You know what I'm saying? That's we usually don't have that much problems.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw this question.
One thing, I hope it ain't no bad weather over there. That's another thing too.
I was gonna say, I know we're doing baseball theme tonight in reference to with Lamar, but the question I have when he gets back, and since the prep season is not completed for the year, what was the highlight? And I want to put it out to all of us. What was your personal highlight of this prep season? Football, basketball, baseball that we can take away. Track. I mean, obviously Shaw winning a state title in the relay. Just I guess when we get Lamar back, and I hope we get it back ASAP. Because there's 4 times in one night Wi-Fi. I mean, internet is aggravating. But I guess before
that is fault.
Oh no, God no.
Yeah,
but I was going to put that question out to the both of you before we get Lamar back.
There you go.
Now that the prep season is in the rearview mirror, here he is.
Ask your question,
all right.
George. Yeah.
All right. Well, Lamar, look, I know we were talking baseball and everything else, and obviously, the prep season is now done. We now wait. We have the scrimmages this week. 2-part question. First off, are you going to any scrimmages in Central Louisiana this week? Are there any that you know of off the top of your head? And secondly, and this is the more broad-based question, you've covered a lot of prep sports this year. We all have. What was your personal highlight of this year? Your most memorable highlight of this prep season, in your opinion?
Well, to answer your first question, I'm planning to just take some time off right now, so I didn't get a chance to see the scrimmage. I did hear Peabody got a thing win Pineville in their scrimmage, but both teams had to actually different teams though. So because Peabody was supposed to scrimmage against Lakeview, unfortunately something fell apart on and Pineville opponent. As far as personal moments, there's a lot of good ones. I think I'd probably say Annie beating Union Parish. That had one of those. I think that's on the top of that list that I have, but also seeing Charles win and seeing first time in like 44 years. I think those to me in my area.
All right, cool deal. I got two that stand out. First one for me is Lafayette Christian, the way they lost in the dome to St. Thomas More. St. Thomas More. That was one. And it's because Jawan Johnson had over 600 yards total, passing and rushing. How do you lose that game? Number two, he's going to join us here in a second. His football game against who did St. Charles Catholic play in the dome, VK? Dunham. Yes. The onside kick. The onside kick by St. Charles, to me, to go down there and score to take the lead and to win the game. That will not leave my memory ever. Not at all. Back to VK.
Well, there's been some good highlights this year and everything. What stood out was a lot of the upsets. A lot of the upsets we had this year. In a little bit in football, we had a couple of upsets, but basketball really stood out with Carver going back to back, beating Peabody and beating Madison Prep to go back to back, and nobody thought that they was going to get there. And then all of a sudden, also the shocking upset of a Catholic beating up
Scotlandville.
beating Scotlandville for the state championship, but also the upset in baseball. One of the biggest all these upsets. You had 3 1 seeds and a 4 seed losing. But then the biggest upset of the weekend when Rummel beat Catholic, a deep Catholic team that was as good as Barb. So they beat them and they wound up getting to the state championship game. And I think this year what stood out was this was a whole lot of upsets this year in prep sports.
Lamar Gafford, we thank you for joining us. Once football season starts, well, not once it starts, before it starts, we're going to bring you back on and you can give us some inside details about some of the schools in central Louisiana.
Thank y'all so much for having me. Let's do it again some other time really soon.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
That's Lamar. That's Lamar Gafford of Sandler Preps
Here, y'all.
and SB Live. And now, joining us, within 18 months, this guy has won a total of 4 state championships, back-to-back in football and back-to-back in baseball. The head coach of the St. Charles Comets, Coach Wayne Stein. Coach Stein, thank you for joining us. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. First of all, congratulations on winning another state title. How does it feel?
It feels great. It's no time to rest. We started meeting for football and spring football yesterday and today, so we'll get out there in the grass tomorrow and start seeing, what our football team's going to look like next year.
Most definitely. After winning the state title in baseball last year, your team returned with a lot of high expectations. Talk about how your team was able to deal with those expectations and how hard it was to win another state championship.
Well, I think the first thing is I was very honest with our kids. We did not shy away from those expectations. In our program, very often we talk about, a dream without a plan is a fantasy. So we talked about going back to back, challenged them with a hellacious schedule. I really didn't think we'd be able to win 20 games with that schedule, and I've told them that prior to the season. And they said, we'll show you. We will. We always play with a chip on our shoulder. We always feel like we should be mentioned in the upper echelon programs in football and baseball. And our kids are out there to prove that every single day.
Go ahead, VK.
Yeah, Coach, I got to tell you, man, it's amazing that over the years you just worked your way and everything. We've been knowing each other for a while and everything. And I remember when Frank Monica, legendary, and he's your uncle and everything. We talked, and I think I did a broadcast, and I think it was West St. John and St. Charles. And we talking, and he tells me like, if I ever get out of here, if I ever retire, that man right across from me, right there, that's Coach Stein. Coach Stein will probably be the guy that's going to take over. Now, at that time, all of a sudden, when you took over there, did you think all the tutelage and everything that he's taught you kind of prepared you for moments like this, especially first year as head coach of football, and then all of a sudden, but also the past experiences with baseball as well.
No doubt, and I think so many young coaches are in a hurry to chase a title. And I was blessed to be underneath not just Coach Monica, but my mentor in baseball, Paul Wagerspack. I was an assistant for 10 years in baseball. I was an assistant for 17 in football. And you learn the things you like and you learn the things you don't like. And I took the things that I thought do and I kept those, and the things that I wanted to change, I changed. And there wasn't a lot of changes. It may be something about off season or whatever it may be, but the structure for the most part stays the same. And there are things that you change that you end up going back to the way you used to do it. You got to learn that for yourself. But so blessed to have mentors to be able to, not just while he was here, VK, to be able to still call Coach Monica, talk about things. There's certain things that whenever you're an assistant, even in football, you don't think about. I never knew what time the team was supposed to be on the sideline before the game. I didn't know that I had to be there 7 minutes before kickoff for national anthem because I ran out there as a defensive coordinator. Just little things like that. So it's nice to have somebody not only that taught you a lot, but you can still lean on. And I've been blessed. And what I have been blessed more than anything, my administration has allowed me to surround myself with great people. Get a lot of the credit, but it truly takes a village, and we got a heck of a village here.
And it's an absolute village. And it seems like to me, Coach Monica has a true coaching tree because of the fact that it's not just with you, but also Nick Monica of what he's doing at Archbishop Rummel. And it seems like it trickles down more than anything else, and it's a proven fact that you have a great proven leader that really has prepared y'all for the future and prepared y'all to be leaders in itself.
No doubt. And the funny thing, VK, is as a young man, he tried to talk all of us out of being a coach. He wanted us to do something else.
Wow.
So, but even Ty, who's my offensive coordinator, his son, who's taking over, he went to school to be a cardiopulmonariologist, and so he had convinced him, but it was just too deep in his blood, and at the end of the day, he couldn't walk away from the coaching.
When it just shows it's in your blood, is in your blood. That's amazing stuff, and I'm not surprised you're saying that because that's something that Coach Monica would say now more than anything. Like, I try to get him out of it, but George, you have a question for Coach Stein?
I do, Coach. First of all, I echo Jared's first off saying congratulations on winning back-to-back state titles in baseball. Talk about the journey that your baseball team went through this year. Obviously, with not just the burden of expectations, but when did you realize, hey, wait a minute, we just may do this again?
Well, I think somewhere along the season, it wasn't all unicorns and rainbows. First of all,
Right.
in week 9 of football, our leadoff hitter, All-State returning Ian Arnett, tears his ACL. So that puts a little kink in the things that we expected. We did expect to be a win. We returned a lot of pitching, and we returned a lot of guys that had experience. But when we started finding ways to win late, we were not an offensive juggernaut throughout the year. And I think Skip Burtman used to call it how to win awareness. It's something that our kids really possessed. We would play poorly, be down 1-0 in the bottom of the 7th, and all of a sudden we started playing at a level I hadn't seen. So they played their best baseball when their backs were against the wall. I kind of got on them all year about that. I thought that was a dangerous thing. It almost caught up to us in the U-High series where we, down to our last 3 outs, down 3 runs. But at the end of the day, our kids have prepared themselves each and every time out. Our kids work extremely hard. They're a talented group, but their work ethic is second to none. If you came here at 6:30 in the morning, you'd hear pinging in that indoor facility. If you came here sometimes as late as 10 o'clock at night, pinging in an indoor facility. So our kids really work for what they want, and I couldn't be prouder of not just the baseball players that they are, but the young men and the character that they play with.
That being said, the one thing I can say about St. Charles, and I've seen your football team and your athletic program, your kids, they epitomize hard work, and it's a throwback, really. It's a wonderful thing to see. But I want to ask you, now that you have decided to cede control of the baseball team, when did you make that decision? Was it right before the championship game, or was it something that you had pre-planned ahead of time, but just decided to wait until the finals to make that announcement?
Yeah, something I made a decision last summer. It was a decision I almost made last year. Me and Coach Ty, Monica, we were in discussions, and we really didn't want to leave each program kind of in array, and we knew that that was our plan. At the end of the day, I didn't want to make some type of announcement. I didn't want it to turn into this, let's win one for Coach Wayne. My kids lay it on the line for one another each and every day, and I didn't need any added pressure. As softball started to end, some rumblings started to happen. So my kids, some of them did know and did find out, but it did not address it publicly because I wanted it to really be on these seniors and the legacy that they have left. I mean, most of my seniors came here in their eighth grade. Their eighth grade year in football, we lost in the semifinals, and then every season after that has ended in the state championship game, whether winning it or losing it. And I think it's just a phenomenal career, and it says a lot about who they are.
Coach, you talked about pitching. You had 6 pitchers who pitched for over 200 innings combined. How important is it to have that amount of depth for pitching?
Well, it's extremely important, and especially in the series. I love the 3-game series. I love the competition. I think the best teams usually get to Sulphur. Now, when you get to Sulphur, we tell our kids all the time, the team that plays well for 2 or 3 days is the champion. You can't go back. There are no redos. And I mean, we've been blessed. I felt like we had 3 number ones. I mean, at the end of the day, the guy I'm bringing in relief in the semifinals and the guy I'm bringing in relief in the finals, he threw a 1-hitter last year in the state championship. He's committed to Delgado. I mean, I had 3 college arms. And then the other guys that I had in Jackson Monica and Braden Bertucci, they were lights out as well. So the one dynamic that was a little different, every one of our pitchers this year was also a position player. So we had to, really kind of watch and try to make sure that they stayed as healthy as they possibly could, that they still had their best stuff. I give credit to our strength and conditioning coach, Coach John Talley. Our baseball program still lifts 5 days a week, and they're just built different. Our kids are built different. They don't complain. They know that we have their best interests and their health in mind, that we're not just doing it mindlessly to be, tough or whatever it may be.
So, Coach, over this, you look at the last 2 years. You played in Hammond to win a state championship, and you go back to play in Sulphur when you won your first championship. What was the comparison in the last 2 years, especially? Did you think things was straight in Hammond, or you rather Sulphur in itself? Tell us the difference between the two places.
So it's hard to compare them. Our experience in Hammond uh, is different, right? It's St. Charles Catholic versus St. Thomas Aquinas. We're 20 miles down the road. They're 3 miles down the road. There was 2,000 to 2,500 fans at the game. It's probably the most electric atmosphere I've ever been a part of in baseball. What I do like, not necessarily anti-sulfur or whatever it may be, what I do like is that it's the only game going on at the time, right? Sulphur is a heck of a venue. I think the LHSAA does a great job putting it on. But at the end of the day, you've got, during our game, you've got 9-1, and then all of a sudden the Quincy comes back and it's 10-9, and that game goes 12 innings, and people are going nuts on the other side, and it's hard not to look. I looked, right? I just like the setting of It might take longer, and we might have to be in different areas. I've been in baseball long enough, VK, to know, I was writing it down in the past. St. Charles Catholic has played, I think, in 10 different venues for a state championship in baseball. We've played in ULM. We've played at Crowley Park. We played at Acadiana Park. We played in Sulphur. We've played, a variety of different places. The one thing that I wish is that we did have more intimacy with that one game where it's the only thing going on. I actually like Field 37. Some coaches don't like Field 37. At Sulphur, I like it because you're off to the side. In the semifinal game we played there, there's no distractions. It's just you, your team, and the opponent.
And it looked like it was the perfect situation for you more than anything else, because the fact of the matter is, it's amazing that you and Holy Savior Menard had to play 24 hours later. And it looked like it was a good thing both ways, because okay, you're in one-on-one more than anything else. You have the fans there, none more distractions than anything. But then you also said a little bit, we was a little bit rusty, but we're glad we played the next day as well. So it seemed like it was more of a better situation for you guys and Holy Savior Menard to play the game 24 hours later.
And I definitely thought, that it was to our advantage, right? I mean, we had a multitude of pitchers, and I didn't, a day in between. I don't like the day in between because I think it could put coaches in a predicament. They start looking at the pitch count, and even though the rule says, hey, if I take this kid out 58 pitches, he needs 1 day of rest. Is that really enough rest, right? Now, I like pitch counts because to me it protects kids, and more than anything, it protects coaches. It takes the gray out of it. And the reason I'd say that is my kids are tough. They'll throw 100 pitches, and they'll be fighting me to get the ball the next day. And so, a lot of times I go get them, and they want to throw down on the mound, and I say, hey, pitch counts up, buddy. We got to go. That's the rule. So I think Sulphur is a well-run event. For teams like myself that had to stay out there 4 nights, it's expensive. We probably spent $15,000 as a program to be up there, and I know our cut is impossible for it to be that high. So you do lose money. It's not about money. It's about venue, and it's about the kids. But we had a very profitable experience at Southeastern. But again, it was a perfect storm, VK.
I want to know how old are you? Talking about 10 different venues for championships, man. You about in your 40s, right?
I'm 42, so I've done 20 complete baseball seasons, and half of them have ended.
Hold on, I'm older than you. You younger than me. Ain't this is something? Where my life been? Where my life been?
Hey, don't be mad because he's a good-looking man.
No,
you're not.
I'm just saying. It's amazing. You put a lot of time in, and you're at that age, man. That's unbelievable, because there's not too many people in life you meet that has worked in a profession for over 20 and started at 19 or 20 years old or 21. It takes a lifetime sometimes to get where they need to be professionally. So, that's big ups right there. George, you got something for Coach?
Sure. Since we're talking about age, I guess I won't reveal mine, so I'll leave mine alone. But anyway, that being said, Coach, again, now that you've zoned into going into football, uh, obviously there's pressure to repeat. You've won 2 straight state titles. You're going for number 3 next season. Um, it's way too early. It's May 16th, so we don't get started till August with the scrimmage and the jamboree, and then the regular season. How do you feel like early look? What are the comments looking at next season for a chance at a three-peat for 1, and 2? Do you have any scrimmages planned this week?
Yeah, so we don't play any spring games, and one of the reasons, one thing I think is different about us.
Spring game. I'm sorry.
If I went through the whole baseball lineup, it's all the same guys, and one thing I'm most proud of, I didn't even really realize this through the run. All of those guys they true Comets. They've had a sibling that's been a Comet. Their parents went to St. Charles Catholic. They're playing for the name on the front just as much as they're playing for the name on the back, and I think that's what's special. We do return a solid group in football. We only lost 3 starters on defense. 8 of the 11 return from the state championship that night, and then we returned 7 of the 11 on offense. So the expectations here are the expectations. We're not going to shy away from that. I think our division is going to continue to get better. And I love the competition. I don't know if you guys speak of the new format. It's better competition from somebody on the
Yes.
select side. I'm very proud of what we did 2 years ago, but we started the playoffs in the quarterfinals in football and in baseball. We really had to earn that thing in both sports this year. We didn't even have a chance to play poorly in the other format. So we're very excited about the competition, even though it brings 3A schools into our division. We're not shying away from that. We think this is what's best for the LHSA going forward, especially the select side. But we do have a lot of good pieces returning. We've had a lot of college traffic come through. Probably my prospect list is bigger than it's ever been. It's led by Kyle Cannon, our linebacker.
Yeah.
He's an animal, and he has really improved himself even more. He's 6'1", 220. He ran track. I even told him, hand you the ball, big man. He said, I'll be ready for it. So, it's hard to replace some of those glue guys. Like, how do you know as a coach what you're replacing with Aiden Altamont? Brady St. Pierre will be the quarterback. He played last year 5 games. He's very capable. You just lose something in Aiden that you don't always can measure. You can't measure it in inches. You can't measure it in arm strength. He's just a winner. He did it in both sports. But we expect to be able to be ready to compete. And like we talked about in baseball, we will defend our title. The ring is on our finger, and somebody will have to take it.
So
I was going to ask you about Aiden Altamont, but you pretty much answered that question for me. But I want to ask you about Ty Monica, who's taking your place as the head coach of the baseball team. He was the softball head coach. What can we expect from him as a head coach of this baseball team?
First, let me share a story I have never shared publicly. And back in 2007, Coach Monica came to me. I was a young baseball coach. I was the second assistant behind Ty. And he said, I need you to be the head softball coach. I said, I don't think that's good for anybody, Coach Monica. I'm 24 years old. I'm full of fire. I probably shouldn't be around them young ladies yelling and screaming, and I don't think that's positive. So I wasn't ready to be a head coach yet. I was 25 years old, and so I went to baseball practice. I was kind of complaining a little bit to Ty. I can't believe Coach Monica wants me to take over softball. He goes, well, I want it. I said, well, run up there and tell him, because that way I'll get a promotion in baseball and you get to become a head coach. And the rest is history. He became the winningest head coach in St. Charles history in softball. What you can expect from him is very meticulous. He is going. I think he coaches in both his sports at an extremely a lot of emotion. I told him when you get to baseball, you can relax a little bit. You got great players, but they're gonna cross every T and dot every I. And has a son in the program. He's been around the program. We talked today. I mean, the things that we did are not far from what he did whenever he was in baseball. So I don't expect much change. I think he's going to take it to the next step. People say, how's he going to do that? I just believe in him. I believe that he will. He will take this baseball program to new heights. We'll continue to improve the facility. As an athletic director, I couldn't be more confident in that.
And looking at your seniors in the baseball, going back to baseball, Aiden Altamont is going to Delgado. And can you tell us any more seniors that are going to the next level more than anything else? Because that's big. When Aiden told me he's going to Delgado, there's a lot of past comments that has been through Delgado, like the Prejants and the Waggis Packs and the Dupuis. That's the part of names you would talk about. That's part of common tradition, right, Coach?
Yeah, and so we actually have 3 committed to Delgado. Michael Holtard, our left-handed pitcher, he's committed to Delgado to pitch. Ian Arnett, who was hurt, who came back late and finished his career off with a base hit in the state championship, he's committed to Delgado as well. Aiden Altamont is committed to Delgado, but there's still a couple of schools out there trying to grab Aiden Altamont. And so I'm not gonna say he's undecided, but he's getting pulled in a couple different directions. And good for them, because Aiden Altamont is a winner. You go to PE, you put him on this team, that team wins. All you do is switch him and somebody else, and then that team wins. And I think that gets lost in all of this recruiting. People look at his frame, but look at work. He is a guy that's going to make any program better.
What do you and I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the whole weekend in Sulphur? It seemed like, my first time ever covering it on that side. I covered a little baseball, but state championship, to me, probably one of the most interesting experiences I have probably covered in my 17, 18 years. And I mean the stories out of it. What are your thoughts on the week? Because there was a lot of upsets, and I think Southeast Louisiana really made a statement this week.
It did. And one, I think it's a well-run event. And look, if you've ever run a tournament, you cannot control the weather. And at the end of the day, it's not easy. And I thought Michael Federico, who was kind of in charge of it, I thought he did a nice job of getting our input, and I tried to be vocal about that. Like, when that game went from 11 to 7, just had input, and we all agreed to make that move. So if that didn't work out, it was on all of us, not just him. And then we all agreed to go to the next day on field 37. So it was nice to have some input, but at the end of the day, somebody's got to make those tough decisions. I thought they did a good job. It is an exciting thing. I wish I could have been there as a fan and see some of the games. I did watch a multitude of games on NFHS. I think it's great baseball. I think, a lot of times runs are scored early. People are nervous, and it takes you some time to kind of get into the flow of the game. We gave up 2 runs in the first inning in the semifinal, and that was rare for us. We averaged giving up less than 3 runs a game. So I think the team that handles the week, handles, being in a hotel, there is a little bit of an advantage in Southwest Louisiana, sleeping in your own bed, right? They have the least amount of training as some of these other high school kids. I mean, we practiced Tuesday. We got on the bus about 3 o'clock, got there about 7:30. We had planned to go to Sulphur and watch some games just so we don't walk in and are in awe. It was raining, so then we went to the hotel, checked in a little bit, ate a little bit, went to sleep expecting to play an 11 o'clock in the morning game, which is not something that's normal, right? Playing Wednesday morning at 11, that's not normal. So at the end of the day, it got pushed back, and I think our kids handled the week well, and I think that's who wins those things. Whoever handles that whole situation, whether you're on a charter bus, whether you're going there and going back. I'm a superstitious guy. In 2021, we went there, won, and then came home, and then went back and we lost. I said, we're never doing this again. I don't care how much money it costs us. We're gonna stay here in Sulphur. So, but you book an hotel, we're gonna win. So I was happy that our kids got it done, so we didn't waste any money. Every dollar was well spent.
And I know you was probably thankful more than anything else that you were probably one of the 2 teams that were 1 seeds that survived. You won big, but survived though, because there were many 1 seeds that fell on field 40 that week.
BK, I'm aware of that. I'm gonna tell you, we watching field 40, and we like every dog is barking. Now, I can tell you, I've been blessed again to be in Sulphur a multitude of times. I've coached in every single dugout in Sulphur. I've coached in the first base and third base dugout in 37, first base and third base in 41. I'm not gonna tell you my record in 40 on the first base dugout, but we all undefeated in the third base dugout. So I felt pretty good about that. So you're right. I mean, I just think it shows the parity in this bracket. Not necessarily I like our power rating system. It's better than what it used to be. Used to just match up districts. I think you get rewarded for playing a hellacious schedule. We did that. We played a hellacious schedule. We had 10 teams on our schedule that made it to Sulphur. We were very proud of that. And we had a couple teams that we played that won the state championship. We play a Jesuit, we play a Washington Christian, we played a Berwick. So we're very proud of that schedule. And again, you just never know how you're going to play when you get there, you know. And I think our kids were loose. I don't know if you had a chance to watch them take in and out before the state championship, but I was told it was flawless. And we showed a lot of confidence. And I thought from the opening, get to the state championship, we played like champions.
George, do you have another question for Coach?
George? I hope you.
Gracious again. Once again, jumping with the mute button. No, I just wanted to, Coach, thank you for your contributions to the baseball program, and I'm sure they're in great hands with Ty Monica. Best of luck to you and with the football team going forward, and obviously keeping the mantra of St. Charles trying to get back to the Superdome once again.
Well, I appreciate that.
Coach, my final question is this. Can we have you back on week 1 of the football season? So we talked to you about your team and whoever your week 1 opponent is.
Sure. My week 1 opponent is Archbishop Shaw.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
I knew that, though.
Are they coming? Are they coming to you, Coach Stein, or you
I'm
going
to them this year?
They coming to us.
Oh, that
They
should
come
be
to us.
fun.
Yes.
Yes.
It'll be fun, definitely.
We'd love to have you back, Coach. And
Definitely.
Coach, we appreciate everything, and especially with me talking with you and being honest. It was an honor to call the championship game, y'all game and everything. But then on top of that, I was just so surprised when you came out with the news, and I was just like, my mouth just dropped, like, wow. But it was very appropriate, and it's a good way to go out on top. So I appreciate everything, your honesty, and congrats and continued success. I told Coach Monica, and I told him this. I said, you prepared a genius. I tell you that now. You prepared a genius.
Living legend already.
You're living legend. 5 state titles for this man right here.
Well, I appreciate it. And again, just blessed to have great kids. And I told you before, I think, and I even said this at our athletic banquet, you know, in our little village, our parents allow us to really push our kids. You know, it's not, don't scream at my son, or he's not wrong.
Right.
And I think that it is a true River Parish school. And our kids, they respond to, you know, and we're very honest with them. We just want them to be the best version of themselves. Our administration pulls in the same direction. We're not judged on winning championships. We've been blessed to do that. They just want to see us get the most out of our kids. And, you know, whenever you start winning championships, the stakes are raised, and the kids raise their game as well. And so we just been very blessed. We know that what we're doing right now is not real life. At some point, it'll come to an end, but we're going to keep working to try to make sure it does continue.
Is the community continue to come together since after Hurricane Ida? Just wanted to ask that right quick.
It really has. And look, we still have remnants of Ida. I mean, in fact, our dugouts just got knocked down today. They're going to get rebuilt within the next couple of weeks, but they've been waiting for our baseball season to end. But they've been in total destruction. Our scoreboard still lays on the ground. So every day we're trying to put a lot of things into perspective for our kids. You know, it made athletics be a great outlet, because for a long time it was the only normalcy a lot of our kids have had. It also showed the great character of our kids getting out there and helping one another and getting on roofs and, you know, gutting houses. So I couldn't be prouder to be a Common. I'm an alum. My kids are going to go here, and I'll always be a Common no matter where I am.
Most definitely. Coach, congratulations once again. We'll see you once again on this show for week 1 of the high school football season. And thank you for joining us. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks,
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Definitely.
Have a good one.
Coach Wayne Stein of the St. Charles Catholic Comets. Total 5 state champions, 2 back-to-back titles within 18 months in football and baseball.
You can't wait till week 1, huh?
I didn't even know they were playing.
And they lost by 36 to them.
I didn't know they were playing, Shaw.
Yeah, I knew. It's the second year of a 2-year contract. Y'all lost to them by 36, but that was at St. Charles last year. It'll be a much more competitive game.
We played them 2021, and that got canceled because of Ida. So I guess they pushed it back to 2023. Okay.
They did.
Right. And this man was talking a whole
But you still lost them by 36.
That's right. That's right. That's
Look
right.
at let me say this. Let me say this. Yeah, we lost by
Go
we lost
ahead.
by 37. Really, I think 37-0. The
Mhm.
opening
37.
kickoff, we
Okay.
driving on them. We driving on them. And then all of a sudden, we had
Oh
bad
no.
snaps and fumbles and everything. It was a total disaster. But this game will be totally different. I'm telling you, it will be totally different.
I think
This
it's
will
gonna
be
be.
a good game.
Mm.
I think this is gonna be interesting for week one. It really is because you think St. Charles is gonna have a lot of. They're gonna have a lot more experience a little bit than Shaw, but Shaw is gonna really
Oh,
bring it. I think Shaw bringing some experience too. I'm not saying that you're not. I'm saying this is going to be a good game because the fact of the matter is that both teams are going to be really bringing a lot of competition by the power for both sides. I think Shaw bringing some good people. I think Shea Charles bringing some good people. The biggest question is
uh,
going to be which quarterback is going to step up because both teams are bringing in a new quarterback.
that's right.
So
Both teams picking a quarterback.
it's going to
Shaw
be
got
interesting.
two new running backs, and then receiving wise, a couple of new receivers.
Receivers.
But defensively, that whole line is there, and all six DBs they used are back. All six of them. They got to replace linebackers. That is it. But Shaw's bringing back a heavy bunch. O line coming back. This a lot of experience coming back for Shaw also. This is gonna be a game.
Very much agreed. I might have to do what I can to try to, but I wouldn't be surprised that a certain network or Crest City might get this game. Crest City did get
Crescent City did it last
they,
year.
they did it last year at St. Charles, but
Should have waited a year.
we'll see. We'll see if they can get it again. I would be surprised VSN might pick it up. So you know what I'm saying. I would love for if I'm back with Max Preps, we'd love to get that game, but you just don't know the availability of the press box.
True.
Mm-mm-mm. So
George Peppers, you got any last words before we go?
Yes, sir. Sure. If I can, I know we weren't going to talk. I don't want to talk about it, but I do want to plug something for this weekend. This is the second leg of the Triple Crown in horse racing.
Okay.
The Preakness will Mage win the Preakness as he did the Kentucky Derby. I will be live tweeting picks throughout the day. I did pretty good. Preakness, the Derby day had 3 winners and a couple of exotics. Just saying, I'm going to try to pinch a few more and make the pockets a little heavier this weekend, not just for myself, but for those that are following me on Twitter at George Peppers. I will be on Preakness Morning previewing the race. I will also write a preview of the Preakness Stakes for CrescentCitySports.com, and I will be on the Three Tailgater Show on Nash 1061 Saturday morning at 11:30 to talk about the Preakness. So that's what I've got planned. I'm off this weekend. I know we got football this weekend, Jamborees.
Spring
Jamborees, listen to
games.
me. Wow, I'm already jumping ahead of myself. Uh,
Spring games.
spring games. Yeah, I'm gonna spit it out, you know. But St. Charles Shaw, something tells me we're gonna have to put a little wager on it, and I'm not talking monetary. I'm thinking something else, more or less waist
Well,
lines. I
hey, look,
think
VK
with
already owes me two
something
drinks, so
involving. Oh, I ain't worried about the drinks. I'm talking about food.
there you go. That
You know,
Hula way.
with
There you go.
eh,
oh, I ain't no, I ain't talking. No, that was for
and
different,
somebody
something
put the
different.
first shot out
But
already.
there you go. All right. So, oh
Yeah.
wow.
Somebody put the first shot
Kenneth, I hear
already,
you, bro.
baby.
The crazy thing is,
My
the
man
Yeah.
crazy
on
thing is,
Facebook.
I know this guy. I know this guy.
You
I'm gonna
do?
see you tomorrow, Ken. Bright and early in the morning. I'm gonna see you tomorrow.
Co-worker? Co-worker?
Hmm?
Coworker.
Co-worker?
Ken, yeah, co-worker. I'm gonna leave it at that. I ain't gonna tell you what he. What? Yeah,
Right,
yeah. I'm gonna leave
I
it at
got
that.
you.
But he has a son that
Man.
plays on the football team in St. Charles.
Oh
Okay,
boy.
well it's gonna be all look, all we do is all
Yes,
in
without a
fun,
doubt.
guys.
He
All we
knows
do is
that.
all in fun. This is not this is not entities that decide to put feelings and
Uh-uh.
emotions and all that
This
nonsense
this
involved. We
man
don't do
this
that. That's
man
not
is
what we
lucky
do.
that I this man is lucky I could have took his money last year, and I was the one that predicted that St. Charles would beat Shaw in the first game.
You told me that
Exactly.
too. You told me that, and I thought you were nuts. I said, man, Shaw's going there, Hank Tierney comeback game. I said, ain't no
Man, that
way they're
first
losing that.
drive.
Humble pie. Dude, yeah, well, it's in the words of the great Marcus Spears on ESPN, champions don't make excuses. You
That's
know the
it.
rest.
Yeah.
Leave
That's
it at
it.
that.
And
But another great
a good,
night. Listen, on the real, I'm going to say something a little personal. I'm going to say something a little bit
Go ahead,
well,
personal.
Chief.
Oh
yeah, I
yes,
don't think
indeed.
that's
We could,
gonna happen.
dude. We could
I
bet.
don't, I
I'll
don't
bet
think that's
that
gonna
guy.
happen.
Your coworker. I'll gladly take it. I'll lighten his wallet up if he's thinking that. I'd love to take that money. But anyway, we're not going to promote that incessant stuff. But I do want to say something personally to the both of you. I mean, we continue to do this every week, and I say this, but I mean this, and it's enjoyable to spend an hour and a half, whatever it is we do, to do it with you guys. Um, it's a highlight for me. And look, y'all know my work schedule, and it's very arduous, and it's not always easy for me to be here with you. But um, the fact that we've been able to do this the last 2 nights, and this is always fun for me, and I know it is for you guys because I can feel the banter and I can feel the camaraderie and the continuity. I mentioned this often, and I'll say it on air now, but I do want to say one thing lighthearted to you, VK. I don't know if you're watching this Lakers
I
Nuggets
was
game
I
right
was
now,
just
but the
I
Nuggets are
was just
smoking
looking.
them
I was just about to update that before we get into something else.
ninety
No, it's
seventy.
101-83.
Well, you see who's going off tonight. I don't know if you see who's going off, and I ain't talking about Jokic. Jamal, your boy, Jamal Murray,
Not
going off.
surprising. I
Yeah.
I, I
But
I said it
uh-uh.
myself, man. If Jamal Murray and Jokic is going off, they're gonna run circles around the Lakers. That is two critical players. If everybody go off, including them two, it's trouble. But I think this is gonna go to a 7 game series, in my opinion. I think the Lakers are
We'll
not gonna
see.
go. I say that's a good choice.
Yep,
Six. I say
Nuggets in
seven.
6.
I got
I
six
say
too.
Nuggets in 7 because I think the Lakers are not going to lay down. I think LeBron's going to do what he can to keep the Lakers in the series and everything. I think they'll get about 2 or 3 wins maybe. But I like Denver as the better team to win. But I think it would be possible to go 7.
So
So
I do want to ask you, Jared. Next show is when?
Monday,
Monday.
AJ Samuel.
Okay, that's right. We got the big reveal. AJ Samuel next Monday night. Car quarterback now going to, is it
No, he's
Southern
in
Miss?
Minnesota.
no, he's going to Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Oh, he's going to Big Ten
Now,
country.
he's going to
Hello.
a school out
Look,
there, but not
I'm.
A Division
University
two
of Minnesota,
school.
a Division 2 school. But
Yeah.
we'll have them all.
Oh, it's D2. I thought it was row your boat. PJ
Nah,
Fleck.
but.
Nah.
Not
I
them.
think we're gonna do Monday, and I think Wednesday it's on Jared. I think most likely we'll have Coach Glenn Shakini next Wednesday on it. But before we close things out, you know what I'm saying, we this is baseball themed show. Gotta ask y'all too this question about two teams of college baseball since it's the last week of the regular season. You know, for one,
Okay.
first question is the UNO Privateers, do they make a big move this weekend because they have won 3 straight weekend series and the Southland Conference is a wild race and it's between 3 teams that's going for first, 3 teams going for second, and the tournament starts next week. Does UNO make some kind of a move this weekend and come up big with a series win against Nichols to close the season?
They should beat Nichols. If they're playing Nichols, then that's the big move. I'm gonna go with it. I think they should beat Nichols.
Okay. Having followed this team since day one, I think the Privateers, if they sweep this series, they win the Southland and they go to the tournament as the top seed. I've always believed in Blake Dean. I think he's an outstanding young coach. The pitching has been a little bit of an issue. Not so much this year. You have your ace and whatnot. To succeed in the South Lane, you got to have two very good pitchers, and your third starter, you can piece it together in a tournament setting. I think UNO can outslug a lot of teams because they can hit the baseball. They hit 11 home runs against Houston Christian last weekend, and that should have been a sweep. Game two was the game they gave away. But VK, to answer your question succinctly, I think, and look, no bias because my brother is the play-by-play voice of the UNO Privateers. I'm just a fan of the team, and they've really grown as this year has progressed. There's been some hiccups, but what baseball season doesn't have hiccups? I mean, goodness, it's 58 games, right? Or 59,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, however many teams play. You're going to have peaks and valleys, but UNO, three straight, as VK mentioned, three straight series wins, make it four, and they're home Thursday through Saturday. Check them out. If you can't make it to the park, Nash 1061 is where you want to listen. That's where you hear Emmanuel Peppers, my brother, calling the games, doing an outstanding job as he always does.
Very,
Most
very much
definitely.
agreed. I will be there on Saturday as well. I'll be there the whole weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'll be working behind the scenes, and that will be really good. And we're gonna try to have Blake Dean. Hopefully, we're gonna try and have him hopefully next week. I'm wondering when the Southland tournament starts. That's what I just need to find. I'm
Think,
about to find out
I
right
th-
now. It
yeah,
actually
check it. I think it's
it
Wednesday,
starts
though.
Tuesday. It will start Tuesday.
Yeah, but that's the back seeds that are
Yeah,
going to play. That's the bottom seeds that are going
yeah.
to
The
play
one seed will play that they play
Thursday,
that Wednesday. I'm looking at the schedule now. The
Wednesday.
one seed will play on Wednesday. Actually, it might be the first game. So that might be the first game
Oh, wow.
on Wednesday. So
Hmm.
there's 9 times out of 10. Like Jared, let's get your decision on that. When the tournament starts Tuesday, when do you want to get Blake Dean?
We already got AJ for Monday. Ugh. The best day,
If we can try Wednesday, that
but he plays
might be
Wednesday.
Wednesday in the morning. They
They
play
play
the
Wednesday. Why not do it Monday? We'll do a double dip. We'll do AJ and we'll do Blake Monday. Considering that UNO will travel for the tournament, and they'll be available Tuesday.
uh-oh.
Okay, we got trouble
Uh-oh.
with George.
Hey,
Technical
hey, hey,
difficulty with
hey,
George.
Play out if they
the devil is
stinker.
alive. Yeah. Go
All
ahead.
right. Um, I mean, kind of looking to do Tuesday, but Tuesday they be traveling.
They'll be on the
V,
bus.
yeah, VK. Just ask him, and if he could do Monday, we'll get him after AJ.
Okay.
And with
I don't want to ruin nothing if you don't want
you're
him
not no,
Monday.
you're not ruining nothing. You're not ruining
Okay.
nothing.
Because
Just
we'll have him after
yeah.
we'll
See
have him after
if he
AJ.
could do Monday, have him after AJ.
Yeah, that'll
But
be a good double dip. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
now, now the second question: what does LSU does? Do you think there's panic right now? Because it
Man,
seems like
you see it on Facebook. These people talking left and right about the pitching. That they don't have enough depth at pitching. And it's costing them games.
because
They
I
panicking right now.
because
So
one of
LSU, the bats
one
gotta pick up. They gotta cover for it.
because the one of the pitchers that they had that was a starter was hurt, and I think that's been killing them because Skeens has been the number one guy. The other guy that was hurt was the guy behind him. And now it's like there's nobody else that's picking it up. Things have been going haywire for LSU baseball since they lost the Nichols. So it's been going haywire. They lose to Auburn in the weekend series. They lose to a bad Mississippi
Ole
State
Miss.
team. Bad. You know what I'm saying? And Ole Miss as well. So this is not good news for LSU. They got to sweep this week. They really, really got to win every game on the schedule this week to have a chance in the SEC tournament and do well in the SEC tournament. Really win the whole freaking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just to have a message to see if they're capable of maybe going to the College World Series, but it's going to be really tough because right now somebody's got to pick it up. And
Yeah,
these next 2
without a
weeks is
doubt.
going to tell the tale with LSU. George, your thoughts on LSU baseball?
Oof. Well, I mean, let's be honest. LSU pitching has been very subpar, except for Skeens. He's been the alpha dog of that roster. And the guy I think you mentioned about being on, was it Dylan Cruz, I think? Their pitcher, the second
I
pitcher.
think
I
so.
forget his name. I think it's Dylan. But anyway, and regardless of the fact, let's recap. Auburn, average team. Mississippi State, average team, but you do not lose a 9-run lead at home in a rubber game.
Right.
You don't do that, and they did. Now, what does that mean for this weekend? I don't know. They better find it fast because I'm going to tell you guys a team that I'm keeping my eye on with a guy that coached in New Orleans, and that team has been beast mode good this year, and they have a real shot to win this national championship. That's Wake Forest, coached by former UNO boss Tom Walter. They've
Mm-hmm.
lost all of 9 games, and they're in a rugged ACC. That's a team, ladies and gentlemen, you want to pay attention to in the NCAA tournament setting. LSU is going to pattern their way like Arkansas. The Gas House Gorillas or the Hogs. I mean, they will smoke the baseball. They will. But if you're going to have to average 9 to 10 to 11 runs just to win in a tournament setting, chances are you're not going to last very long, especially if your pitching can't hold up. It all depends on the regional guys, what kind of a regional they get. There'll be a super regional if there'll be a top eight. So that means they don't leave Baton Rouge for as long as they're in the tournament.
Right.
But in the sub regional, which is the first one, it wouldn't shock me if they don't make it out, especially if they put a live two in there. If they put a live two that can pitch, LSU might be in a spot of trouble, Jared.
Well, we will see.
I
And on
think
that note,
I think a team that's going to be really good is Arkansas. That's the one team I think that could really make some noise and going all the way, possibly. You know what I'm saying? I think Arkansas gets there. That's what I'm thinking. They've been cracking on the door for the longest, so I think they might get there. So I'm thinking Arkansas Razorbacks. But before we shut it down, shout
no, we
out.
shut down, man. we
We
shut
got it.
down.
We got it. We
Said
got it.
and on that note,
Hey,
and then you start talking again. We shut down. No, what you got to say? Go ahead.
No. We got some special shout outs right quick. We ain't gonna take that long, okay? Shout out going to Trinish Grant and Dillard. They had a great season. They lost 2 games in the national tournament. They lost 5-2 to Mid America Nazarene and 9-1 to McPherson. But big ups going to Dillard for a great first season in baseball. For them to winning the conference and
Their first
competing
year.
in the national tournament,
Yes, sir.
and in this first year. So
And no home bond.
right.
Yeah.
And thank you, Trinish, for joining us on the show.
Twice.
Shout out to him.
Definitely.
Big time. Also, big shout out to Mr. Logan Diggs. He made the big news today that he made the ultimate decision that he is going to go to LSU for the rest of his playing career. So congratulations to Logan Diggs. Congratulations to his mom. Congratulations to his family and to you, Jared, as both family members. As we have Logan Diggs, Jordan Wright at LSU. Shout out to the Boyd Diggs Wright family. Big shout out to them, man. Number love. We're gonna have a lot of trips to Baton Rouge coming up. And one more big shout out we're gonna send to all the high school graduates.
Yes, sir.
That are starting to graduate this week. A special shout out to one of my boys, Aubrey Moore. His daughter's graduating today. A bunch of graduates I know from the Academy Our Lady who graduated tonight. So shout out to them. My nephew's graduating Friday from John Curtis. So all shout out to the high school graduates and all the college graduates. Graduate season is officially started.
Shout out to my cousin Piper, who graduated today from Academy of Our Lady. Shout out to my cousin DJ, who graduated from Lake Charles College Prep. Shout out to my cousin Pierce, who graduated this weekend. Shout out to my cousin Preston, who graduated from college in St. Louis. And I don't know what the test is called in the medical field, where the highest score is a 528. He got a 526.
Oh, wow. Outstanding.
Yeah.
Big ups.
Shout out to all the graduates.
Oh my God.
High school, college, kindergarten, preschool. Shout out to all y'all.
And happy graduation. I know without a doubt VK will be there soon. I'll tell you details way later on for that one.
All right. For our guest Lamar Gafford, and for Coach Wayne Stein, my 2 co-hosts VK Jones and George Peppers, I am JB, your sports guy. Thank you all for tuning in to the Hash It Out Show. We'll be back next week on Monday.
On the home of the exclusive interviews, YouTube Live and Facebook Live.
You see, I wasn't even done.
I'm sorry.
You see how he is, George?
I see
that. Just
gosh. No, finish, my man. I'm just saying.
But
I thought you might forget.
No, man, I won't forget. I got it right here on the side of my screen. I don't remember what I was saying, but thank y'all for tuning in. Next Monday, we have AJ Samuel. Make sure subscribe to my YouTube page, JB Sports Guy. Subscribe to my good friend, my brother from another, VK Jones at the. Go ahead, you say it, VK.
That's Sean K. Jones on YouTube. The Sean K. Jones on Facebook.
And he's also the real VK Jones on Instagram.
On Instagram and on Twitter.
Good. And you can follow my man George Peppers on Facebook. So can't forget about you, George.
I know. I don't feel left out. Believe me, I don't. Trust me, I
Thank
don't.
y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in, fellas. I'm gonna call y'all when I get to my car. All right.
Got
Okay.
it.
You know how we do. All right. Thank
All right.
y'all for tuning in. See you on Monday. Y'all take care.